So what I did here is after I finished reading pages 73 to 88, I looked through the different prompt options and I asked myself which one fits best with the chapter that I just read. And I couldn't help but go back to prompt number 5. Which character would you like to have as a friend and why? And there were a couple things as I was reading that chapter that really stood out to me about Mike Winchell's story that I feel like I'd be able to bond with. We'd be able to bond together on. And the first thing, obviously, was losing his father. Now, he lost his dad at 13. I lost my dad at 20. But still, that piece of us that's gone now still hurts. And I feel like having a friend who has gone through that would be really powerful. I know that when I went over to Northeastern, when I went to college there in Boston, two of my best friends from school also had lost their parent at a similar age that I did. And it was a time that we were able to really come together, the three of us, and talk about these similar feelings and emotions. And it really forged our friendship even stronger. And so I kind of was reminded of that as I was reading about Mike. As I continued reading the chapter, there were more similarities, including the way that he thought about sports and when he played sports and sort of what was going through his mind. And as someone who played sports as a young kid myself and had some similar thoughts, those were kind of the two main points of connection between Mike and myself. And I feel like having someone as a friend who is so similar would have been great. And so that's what I wrote my prompt on today. Prompt number 5. You can see I followed the same format as I did last time. I've got those portions highlighted, my topic sentence, which is my main idea, in orange, my yellow, which is text evidence, so the part of the chapter that I use. And there's a quote here that will sound familiar to you. There's another part that I took from a little bit later on the next page that I didn't read out loud, but it's in the chapter. My analysis, so my own thoughts and why I decided to write what I did. And then finally, what could be next, a little inference on what might happen next with Mike. So here we go. The character that I would most like to have as a friend is quarterback Mike Winchell. Mike didn't just stand out as an athlete as a youngster, he also stood out in the type of adversity facing him from an early age. Unlike other athletes we've met in the book from Odessa, Texas, and we have met some others through the first 70 pages or so, Mike's obstacles weren't just limited to money, there's a lot of poor people in the town, or pressure from the community. You know all about that from Monday. But that his best friend, his father, dealt with debilitating arthritis and lost a leg while Mike was just 13 years old. And when he was 13, ultimately passed away. Mike told the author that, quote, when he died, I just thought the best person in the world had died. It was hurting him and there was nothing you could do. The chapter also describes Mike as a very sensitive player, contrasted with his brash teammates, such as Booby Miles, it's his nickname. When Mike hit 3 home runs in a game in Little League, he didn't celebrate, instead asking himself, why could I do it when other kids couldn't? I believe I'd be friends with Mike for these 2 reasons. One, my father passed away when I was only 20 years old, and I remember him being the most important person in my entire life. We could bond over this and share those common emotions that go with such a powerful loss. Secondly, I was always someone whose mind was racing, sometimes to my detriment, when I was playing sports. Detriment meaning it worked against me. I tended to overanalyze certain situations and get in my own brain rather than letting my instincts take over. So we share that personality trait, which is something that's actually worked in my favor as a coach, but not so much as a player. I can infer that Mike's analytical personality may actually hurt him as a quarterback, especially if he loses confidence in a community where the spotlight will shine so bright. Well, it's good to be smart as the QB. You also have to kind of go with your gut once in a while and go on your instincts and trust your instincts. And if he's overthinking things, he might dig a pretty deep mental hole. So that is my prompt for today. You can see the parts. You can see why I chose it. Again, if you have any questions about how you should proceed, if you've moved on to a nonfiction book and you want those prompts, etc., I've been answering emails as quickly as possible this week, and will continue to do so. Tomorrow, Thursday, you're going to hop back on Canvas to start, but just like Tuesday, it will direct you back to Google Classroom and a similar slideshow. Okay? Hope everyone's doing well, doing the best they can during all of this. I miss each and every one of you, and we'll stay in contact, I'm sure. Thanks, everyone, for listening.